Uh, Morning, everyone. Uh, my name is Gavin. I'm Lean, and today I'll be discussing to you all about a topic that I have been holding dearly to me. So the topic is about pretty much like conditional formatting with chapter 5. So we'll pretty much be setting like operand operators, for our code. So it's pretty much like introduction to the jumbotron, like what we did with our React hooks. I mean, the React Redux code. So yeah, so in this chapter we explore functionality to give us more control in rendering HTML via JSX. So if you want to show hide part of a view depending on a condition, right, we will have earlier displayed our list of products. But if there are no products to display, we want to display a message like no products to display on the page. To do so, in product.js of the existing projects from chapter 4, add the codes in bold. Okay, so that's pretty much what Ernest is gonna be going over. You know what I mean? So yeah. So in this chapter, we introduce inline of if operand operator that gives us more conditional control in rendering our JSX. We've also learned about inserting content into components from the outside using props at children. So that's pretty much what we got. So yeah, I mean that's the topic. So Ernest, without a further ado, you can begin going over the code. You know. So yeah, you can begin with that. So yeah, thanks. Ernest, my navigator, is gonna be navigating the video. So yeah.
Hey, okay, so, Cabello,
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah,
your front end running?
yeah. It's running. It's running.
It's running.
Yeah.
Can you share your screen? And I want to see how your front end looks like
Okay, no problem.
because you talked about it showing the product. Because my front end is just showing like the jumbotron where it said we are learning
Yeah, my case, my source is the source for my buttons a hashtag, not an actual link yet. But yeah, not an actual link yet. I'll show you now. So as you can see, it's not going anywhere.
Okay. It's the same thing I have.
Yeah,
It's just that you spoke about, about if we don't have any product list, it won't display. But okay, I'll touch on that.
I'm sure it's just
I'll touch.
I'm sure we're gonna have that down the line. Yeah,
Yeah, but that was an example. Anyways, let's
yeah,
look at it here
no
in
problem.
our product.js because in this chapter 5, the book just showed us an example of how we can use conditional rendering, but we don't really actually implement it in our app. So as you can see here from line,
Sorry, Ernest, can you pause? I can't hear you. Sorry about that. Let me disconnect and I'm gonna
let me.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I couldn't hear you. It's just that there was something going on in my computer. Yeah,
Endpoint.
I know.
Uh, that's basically what that code is saying. But this is where it is more clearly in the book, where we have an if statement. Um, You
Yeah,
did?
yeah, I know. There's just that my screen. For some reason, my computer there's something wrong with it, so I had to exit then come back. So
Okay,
yeah,
no problem. No problem. So, okay, I was just about to get on to uh, our Jumbotron
yeah,
component, which
okay,
is the main component which we are working with in this application. So we start by importing, we start by importing React from React, and then we import Jumbotron. We import Jumbotron and pattern components from React Bootstrap library, and then we go ahead and our Jumbotron is a reusable component to display a permanent selection a permanent selection and it can display any content. It can display any content passed by the children component inside the paragraph. And here's our function of Jumbo components, and we give it a props. So remember, we say props cannot be changed, and states can be changed. So we pass it props, and then we return a div. This div has a div which is carrying a jumbotron. I would say elements. So this is a jumbotron element. Inside the jumbotron element, we have an h1. We have an h1 element which says hello world, which we'll see in our front end, and then we have a parent, a child content or a child component. This display any child content passed by the component, and then we also have a button here which takes its variant as primary, and then we say learn more. So primary basically I think it will just give us a blue color, unlike when we say danger, it will give us a red color button. And yeah, we export our Jumbotron component so that it can be imported in our app.js. And then in our app.js, you can see we import we import our Jumbotron components. Then in our app function, we return a Jumbotron component. You know, we have a Jumbotron component working as an element. So anything that we put in between these two elements will be displayed in our front end, inside the Jumbotron component. So we're adding this inside the Jumbotron component, or let me just say, let me bring it back to our this props or this paragraph element props.child. So we would have that paragraph in here because that's what we're passing into it. And yeah, basically, so when we open our front end, we just have a hello world, then have that paragraph which we passed in from our app.js, and then we have a button. And basically, that's for our yeah. In terms of coding for chapter 5, Kabelo, would you like to show us the front end so we can actually see a visualization of our application?
no problem. I'll do that now. So as you can see here, we've got a jumbotron called Hello World. So this is a simple hero unit, a simple like jumbotron style component for calling extra attention to featured content information. So we've got a button here as well, and then obviously we've debugged, the code just to see the components that we're making use of to make sure that this front end actually comes together the way that it should, and the speed in which in which the in which the the data gets fragmented from data to info. That's pretty much what we have. And then right, we go to like what, chapter 5, and then you go to our source code. I know Ernest went through it already, but just to further elaborate on what I was talking about, as you can see here, we got our children props here, Jumbotron props, our children values, so react.children.count props, that children's greater than 0. Then return div card style margin 10, card.body hello world. And then, our children props.children, this is simple hero unit, simple Jumbotron style component for calling extra attention. And then, button variant primary, so as you can see, it doesn't have a link. So this is pretty much our Jumbotron stuff. Stuff for like Jumbotron, and then yeah, that's pretty much what we're dealing with. So anything else that you want me to elaborate on, Ernest? Because that's pretty much like chapter 5. Yeah, Ernest, were you able to see it? Because apparently I was disconnected. Were you able to see everything?
Yeah, I saw like you showed us the front end, you debugged it, and yeah,
Okay, is there anything else that you want me to elaborate on?
um, not really, not at all.
I know, no problem, Ernest. It's fine.
We
That,
can
that
go
was our
on.
chapter
We can go
5.
on to chapter 6.
Yeah, no problem, man.
So I'll introduce chapter 6.
All right, wait, hold on.
Camilo?
Yeah? Yeah, I know
Yeah, I
you.
said I'll introduce
Yeah, I know
chapter
you.
6.
You'll introduce it. Yeah, you'll introduce chapter 6, and I'll go over the back end code. Yeah. Then you'll show us the front end.
No problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So our chapter 6 is building forms with hooks. Building form with hooks. Let me just quickly go over the summary of the book. Okay, so in this chapter, we learned how to create a form with React hooks. We created an initial JSX form with template form from React's Bootstrap. Then we learned how to use form groups, form control element, and on change method to handle form import, show form specific form field,
Yeah.
validation error, and
Right.
how to validate the form upon submit. And now after submitting a form, we need to persist the data by calling the API endpoint of the server. We'll
Right.
begin to explore how to communicate with the server in the next chapter. So basically, uh, we're learning how to, we learned how to create our initial form, you know, with templates from Bootstrap, from React Bootstrap, and we learned how to use form group, form control element, and on change method, and controlled input handling submission using useState from from the form field and preventing the page from refreshing on submit. Basically, that's what chapter 6 goes on about. I have Cavido here that will show us the back end and how the forms, how the form operates.
Right, so yeah, this is where my cue comes in, man. So my cue comes in. All right, man. Okay, so chapter 6, my app vibe. So this is pretty much what Ernest, my navigator, my driver was going over. So now last chapter we went over like the jumbotron aspect of everything. So let's go over like the user form aspect of everything, man. Right. So as you can see here, we got our user form. So importing our user form. Right. So app.jsx pretty much is our backend functionality for our app. So what this thing does here is it pretty much it gives us a function called app, then empty brackets, right? So what that does is it pretty much, returns a user form that we imported from our user form, source code user form. It import React from React, so that's from our library, our React app, and then you got our dividend. So that's pretty much set formats our user form, then we export default code app.jsx, and then what that does is we pretty much we will be able to import via our user form.jsx, import our app file. So yeah, that's pretty much what we have, right? And then what we have